The courtroom doors opened at 2 p.m., and 22-year-old Oscar Vasquez, known on the streets as Triste, entered in shackles and an orange prison jumpsuit. His appearance was immediately striking, completely bald, with elaborate MS-13 tattoos covering every visible inch of his body. His face bore the unmistakable markings of Mara Salvatrucha, MS in Gothic letters across his forehead, 13 on his right temple, 3 dots forming a triangle under his left eye representing Mi Vida Loca, and Salvatrucha spelled in ornate script along his jawline. Teardrops marked his cheeks, 5 on the left. His neck was completely covered in gang imagery. Devils, skulls, the words Mara and murder intertwined. His hands displayed the gang's devil horn symbol, and his knuckles spelled M-A-R-A on the left and S-A-L-V on the right. He shuffled to the defendant's table with a defiant swagger, despite the heavy chains. In the gallery sat parents, both the victim's parents, their son now permanently disabled, and 4 sets of parents whose teenage children had witnessed the attack. Before we dive into what happened in that courtroom, if you believe in justice and want to support a new channel dedicated to sharing these powerful stories, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Every subscription helps us bring more of Judge Caprio's wisdom to light. The state prosecutor, Assistant District Attorney Michael Romano, stood. Your Honor, the state of Rhode Island versus Oscar Vasquez. Charges: attempted murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, assault in the presence of minors, gang-related violence enhancement, and terroristic threatening. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without possibility of parole. Judge Frank Caprio looked at the extensive file before him, including graphic photographs he'd reviewed in chambers. In his 37 years on the bench, gang violence cases were always difficult, but attacks near schools, witnessed by children, represented a special kind of evil. He looked at Oscar, whose tattooed face showed complete indifference. Mr. Vasquez, do you understand the charges against you? Oscar's voice was flat, heavily accented. Yeah, I understand. The prosecution alleges that on September 28th of this year at approximately 3:30 p.m., you attacked Carlos Rivera with a machete outside Hope High School. The attack occurred as school was dismissing, and 4 students witnessed the entire incident. Is that accurate? Oscar shrugged, causing the chains to rattle. I attacked somebody. If that's the name, yeah. The casual admission shocked the courtroom. Judge Caprio's expression hardened. You admit to the attack? Yeah. Ese puto was Barrio 18. That faggot was from 18. MS-13 doesn't let 18 walk our streets. Simple. Let me understand something. You attacked someone because you believed he was in a rival gang? Not believed. Knew. Carlos Rivera got 18 tattoos. He from Los Angeles, 18 territory. He comes to Providence, our turf? Nah, that's disrespect. MS-13 don't allow that. Prosecutor Romano stood. Your Honor, if I may present evidence of the attack itself. Proceed. Romano pulled out medical photographs and police reports. On September 28th at 3:27 p.m., as Hope High School was dismissing students, Oscar Vasquez approached Carlos Rivera, age 24, who was waiting at a bus stop across from the school. Without warning, Vasquez produced a machete, the weapon of choice for MS-13, and began attacking Rivera. Forensic evidence shows 23 separate strikes with the machete. Judge Caprio looked at the photographs, his face paling. 23 strikes? Yes, Your Honor. Rivera's right arm was nearly severed. The bone was exposed and only tendons kept the limb attached. He had deep lacerations across his chest, back, and shoulders. He suffered a fractured skull from blows to the head. He lost over 4 pints of blood at the scene. Doctors at Rhode Island Hospital performed emergency surgery lasting 9 hours. Rivera survived, but he's now permanently disabled. His right arm has limited function, he has chronic pain, and he suffers from severe PTSD. And students witnessed this? 4 students, Your Honor. 14-year-old Emma Martinez, 15-year-old Jamal Thompson, 16-year-old Sarah Chen, and 14-year-old Marcus Williams. They were leaving school when the attack began approximately 50 feet from them. They saw the entire assault, every blow, the blood, Rivera's screams. All 4 are currently in intensive trauma therapy. Judge Caprio turned to Oscar. Mr. Vasquez, you attacked someone with a machete in front of children leaving school? Oscar leaned back, his tattooed face showing no emotion. They at the wrong place, wrong time. Not my problem. They shouldn't be watching if they don't want to see. You knew school was dismissing. You chose that location deliberately. I knew where ese puto would be. He always at that bus stop. Timing. That's just when I found him. The kids, whatever. They need to learn anyway. Learn what? Learn about MS. Learn about respect. Learn what happens when you disrespect Mara Salvatrucha. Better they learn young than end up like Carlos, thinking they can walk through MS territory with 18 tattoos. The courtroom erupted in gasps and angry whispers. The parents of the teenage witnesses looked horrified. Judge Caprio held up his hand for silence. What happened next would reveal the full brutality of MS-13's street law. Prosecutor Romano called the first witness. Your Honor, I'd like to call Detective Sarah Walsh, who interviewed the student witnesses. Detective Walsh took the stand. Your Honor, I interviewed all 4 students separately on the day of the attack. They were severely traumatized. Emma Martinez was so distraught, she couldn't speak for the first hour. Jamal Thompson vomited during his interview. Sarah Chen had a panic attack. Marcus Williams kept repeating so much blood over and over. What did they tell you about the attack? They described seeing Oscar Vasquez, whom they later identified from a photo lineup, approach a man at the bus stop. They said Vasquez pulled out what looked like a sword or big knife from under his jacket. The man raised his hands, appeared to be trying to talk or plead. Vasquez began swinging the machete. Emma said it was like a horror movie. He just kept hitting him and hitting him. Jamal counted the strikes. He got to 23 before he closed his eyes and ran. Did the students hear anything? They heard Rivera screaming, begging for mercy in Spanish. They heard Vasquez yelling gang slogans. Emma specifically remembered him shouting MS-13 for life, and this is our street. Marcus said the worst part was when Vasquez stopped attacking, looked at Rivera bleeding on the ground, and laughed before walking away. If Judge Caprio's compassion moves you like it moves millions of others, show your support by subscribing to our channel. We're just starting out, and your subscription means everything. Judge Caprio looked at Oscar, disgust evident on his face. You laughed at your victim? He disrespected MS. He got what he deserved. Yeah, I laughed. I was proud. I did my job for the clique. Your job is attempted murder in front of children? My job is protecting MS territory, eliminating threats, showing we don't tolerate disrespect. Barrio 18 killed my brother in El Salvador 3 years ago. They machete him in the street like a dog. MS-13 never forgets, never forgives. Carlos got 18 tattoos? He signed his death warrant. So this was revenge for your brother? This was justice. Street justice. El Salvador, Los Angeles, Providence. Doesn't matter. You join 18, you enemy of MS. You enemy of MS, you die. Simple mathematics. Prosecutor Romano presented more evidence. Your Honor, we have the machete used in the attack. It was recovered from Mr. Vasquez's apartment during his arrest. The blade is 22 inches long. DNA testing confirmed Carlos Rivera's blood on the blade. We also found MS-13 propaganda materials, photographs of gang members holding machetes, and a journal where Vasquez wrote about his intentions to eliminate all 18s from Providence. Judge Caprio examined the machete, a brutal weapon with a worn handle wrapped in black tape. Mr. Vasquez, why do MS-13 members use machetes specifically? Oscar smiled, showing gold teeth. Machete is our signature. In El Salvador, we started with machetes because we poor, no money for guns. Now it's tradition. When people see machete attack, they know it's MS. It sends message. Guns are fast. Bang. Done. Machete is personal. Machete makes you feel every cut, every bone breaking. Makes victims suffer. Makes witnesses remember. That's why we use it. You're describing torture. I'm describing tradition. I'm describing how MS-13 built reputation as most feared gang in Americas. We in 42 states now. We in 6 countries. People fear the machete. That fear is power. That fear is terror. Your Honor, con respeto, you're American. You don't understand gang culture from El Salvador. We grow up in war. Civil war, gang war, narco war. Violence is normal. MS-13 is family, protection, identity. When I was 12 in San Salvador, I watched Barrio 18 kill 3 people in my street. Police do nothing. Government do nothing. Only MS protected my neighborhood. I joined when I was 13. Machete was first weapon they taught me. By 15, I used it. By 18, I was respected soldier. Now I'm here in Providence, and I rep MS everywhere I go. He suddenly raised his shackled hands and formed the MS-13 hand sign, 3 fingers extended to form an M, pinky and thumb forming a 13. Mara Salvatrucha por vida, MS-13 for life. The bailiff moved forward to stop him, but Judge Caprio held up his hand. Let the record show that Mr. Vasquez just displayed gang signs in my courtroom. Oscar grinned, his tattooed face proud. Yeah, I did. MS is what I am. These tattoos, he gestured to his face and neck. They permanent. They tell everybody who I am. I'm MS. I'll die MS. I'm proud. Romano called another witness. Your Honor, I'd like to call Maria Rivera, the victim's mother. A middle-aged woman took the stand, tears already streaming down her face. Through a translator, she spoke in Spanish. Your Honor, my Carlos is my oldest son. He made mistakes when he was young in Los Angeles. He joined Barrio 18, got tattoos. But 5 years ago, he left the gang. He moved to Providence to escape. He got a job at a warehouse. He was going to community college. He wanted a better life. How is Carlos now? He cannot work anymore. His arm, her voice broke. Doctors try to save it, but it's useless. He cannot lift anything. He has constant pain. He has nightmares every night. He's afraid to leave the house. He was trying to escape gangs, and they found him anyway. She turned to look at Oscar, her voice filled with pain and anger. You destroyed my son's life because of tattoos he got when he was 15 years old. Tattoos he regrets. He was trying to change, to be better. You didn't care. You just wanted to hurt someone. Oscar stared back at her, his expression blank. He should have covered the tattoos, or removed them. If you wear 18, you rep 18. He rep 18 in MS territory, he pays. Your son knew the rules. Maria sobbed. He was waiting for a bus, just waiting for a bus. In our territory, wearing 18 tattoos, that's suicide. Judge Caprio's voice cut through like ice. Mr. Vasquez, you just admitted to attempted murder because of tattoos. Tattoos that may have been from years ago, that may not even mean the victim is currently in a gang. You nearly killed someone based on ink on their skin. Based on disrespect to MS-13. The ink is the disrespect. And the 4 children who witnessed this? What about them? Oscar shrugged. Mejor que aprendan respetar MS. Better that they learn to respect MS. Now they know. You don't disrespect Mara Salvatrucha. You see MS tattoos, you cross the street. You hear MS claim territory, you stay away. Those kids learned valuable lesson. They learned to be terrified. Fear is respect. Same thing in gang life. Judge Caprio stood from his bench, his face red with fury. Mr. Vasquez, you brought El Salvador's gang war to an American high school. You attacked a man with 23 machete strikes while children watched. You nearly severed his arm. You traumatized 4 teenagers. You spread terror through gang violence. And you sit here proud of it, displaying gang signs, bragging about your tattoos, claiming you're teaching children respect. I'm teaching them reality. MS-13 is reality in Providence, in Boston, in New York, in Los Angeles. We're everywhere. We're not going away. Better people learn to respect that. You're teaching them violence, fear, and hatred. You're perpetuating a cycle of gang warfare that's destroyed entire communities in Central America and is now poisoning American cities. I'm doing what I had to do to survive in El Salvador and what I have to do to maintain respect here. MS-13 is my family, my identity, my life. You want me to apologize? I won't. Carlos had 18 tattoos in MS territory. He knew what that meant. Those kids saw what happens when you disrespect MS. That's education. Romano stood for his closing statement. Your Honor, Oscar Vasquez represents the worst of MS-13's violence. The gang requires members to commit brutal public attacks to maintain their reputation of terror. Mr. Vasquez chose a location near a school to maximize fear. He used excessive force, 23 strikes with a machete, to send a message. He shows no remorse, no understanding that what he did was wrong, and actively threatens continued violence. The state requests life in prison without possibility of parole. Judge Caprio looked at Oscar one final time. Mr. Vasquez, in my 37 years on this bench, I've seen gang violence in many forms, but your cold calculation, attacking near a school, using excessive brutality, and traumatizing children, represents a level of callousness that shocks the conscience. Your Honor, you claim MS-13 is your family, your identity. You wear their symbols on your face, your neck, your hands. You make their signs in my courtroom. You're proud of the terror you spread. Well, let me tell you what your family has earned you. The courtroom held its breath. I am sentencing you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. You will spend the rest of your life in a maximum security facility, isolated from your gang, your family, your territory. Your MS-13 tattoos will become your prison, marking you as a target for rival gang members inside, making you recognizable to guards who will ensure you never have power again. Oscar's tattooed face finally showed emotion, shock, and rage. Life? For defending MS territory? For attempted murder? For terrorizing children? For bringing gang war to American streets? For showing no remorse and threatening continued violence? Life means you'll never walk free again. You'll never rep MS on Providence streets. You'll never swing a machete at another human being. MS-13 never dies. My brothers will continue, This changes nothing. It changes everything for you. You walked into this courtroom proud of your gang, your tattoos, your violence. You walk out with a life sentence, stripped of freedom, power, and the street reputation you value more than human life. As marshals prepared to take Oscar away, he shouted at the teenage witnesses in the gallery, "You remember what you saw? You remember MS-13? We run these streets, not police, not judges. Mara salvatrucha por vida." The witnesses cowered, their parents shielding them. Judge Caprio banged his gavel. "Bailiff, remove him immediately, and add terroristic threatening to his charges. He just threatened minors again in open court." As Oscar was dragged out, still shouting gang slogans, still making hand signs with his shackled hands, the 4 teenage witnesses held their parents and cried. 3 years after the trial, those 4 teenagers are still in therapy. Emma Martinez transferred schools twice, unable to cope with being near the site of the attack. Jamal Thompson developed severe anxiety. Sarah Chen has panic attacks whenever she sees someone in red, MS-13's color. Marcus Williams carries the emotional scars of counting each machete strike, unable to forget the number 23. Carlos Rivera lives with his mother, unable to work, his right arm permanently damaged. The tattoos he got as a confused teenager in Los Angeles, tattoos he'd planned to have removed, nearly cost him his life. If this story touched your heart, if you believe judges like Frank Caprio represent the best of our justice system, please support our new channel by subscribing and liking this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that justice and compassion can coexist. Comment below with your city. Let's build a community that believes in fairness for all. Oscar Triste Vasquez sits in maximum security at Rhode Island's Adult Correctional Institution, where he'll remain for the rest of his life. His MS-13 tattoos, once symbols of power and fear, now make him a target. He's been attacked 3 times by Barrio 18 members inside and spent 18 months in solitary confinement for his own protection. The streets of Providence continue to struggle with gang violence. MS-13 and Barrio 18 still clash. Young people still join gangs seeking family, protection, identity. But each gang member imprisoned, each life sentence handed down, represents society saying, "This violence will not be tolerated. These children will be protected. This terror ends here." Judge Caprio keeps a photograph on his desk of Hope High School at dismissal time. Hundreds of students leaving safely, going home to families, pursuing education and futures. It reminds him that protecting those students, ensuring they can leave school without witnessing machete attacks, is worth every difficult sentence, every confrontation with unrepentant gang members. Oscar walked into that courtroom covered in MS-13 tattoos, making gang signs, bragging about his violence. He walked out with a life sentence, understanding too late that street reputation means nothing when you spend every day locked in a cell, separated from the family and territory he valued more than human life. That's not just justice, that's protection of the innocent.